guys, this video or this reaction commentary video, it's going to be a little different than some of the other things I have responded or reacted to, because a few days ago I received a very kind donation from someone. I do have a PayPal donation thing up on my little info thing in my banner. I just threw it up there just, for the heck of it, just in case anybody felt inclined. I feel weird to ask for stuff like that, so I just put it there just whenever. Anyway, he through the course of correspondence with him, he indicated that there was this video that he requested that I check it out. And I can't necessarily promise all the time that it's something that I can do. I have gotten so many requests and I'm trying to go through them, as well as I can, but also, I'm trying to go through them here. I'm editing myself. I'm trying to go through them as quickly as I can, or as good as I can, whatever. It's late again. And I do this. I'm someone who edits my own Facebook post, you guys. So anyway, I'm trying to go through all of these requests, but my time is a little limited. Well, my time is limited to generally late at night after I'm done with work. And, because that's just, I feel like I used to stop in the middle of work and take breaks and do quick little reactions to movie trailers, because it was like, okay, it's time to take a little break, coffee break. I'm going to watch a movie trailer. But now I feel like I want to have dedicated time to watch this stuff and be able to, have some decent commentary to add to it. I want to be able to give my mind enough time, space to sort of be able to relax a little bit so that I can actually, talk about these things that I'm watching. And if I do it in the middle of the day, in the middle of work, I feel like the time constraint will put pressure on me to try to think up something really, wonderful to say, and it'll be lame. So I'm now setting aside actual dedicated time at the end of my work day to watch some of these things. And of course, because it's so late and it all depends on how quickly I get my work done, I can't always do a whole lot at once. Plus, if you do a whole lot at once, you start to run out of steam and your brain starts to just, I don't know, it just kind of starts to get a little tired, and maybe you're not quite, your mind isn't quite as active. So anyway, I decided to go ahead and try to check this out. I have a feeling this is probably going to touch on things that I already agree with. I don't know the specifics of what the lady on this channel is going to be referencing. Her name is Davison. I don't know if I've heard of her before, but I'm curious to see what she says. Well, it looks like it's just going to be an audio. Well, no, I don't know. It looks like it's got some stuff showing here. Anyway, the name of this video is called "In Defense of Morgan Freeman." So I only have very vague notions of things in the back of my mind pertaining to him. And I haven't really sifted through the information to figure out what seems to be factual and what seems to just be rumor. One of the things that comes to mind was that what he was involved with his grand stepdaughter or something. That might be completely wrong. I don't know if that was true. I thought I heard something about some sort of sexual harassment claim, but I might be mixing it up with something else. So don't take any of that as like that's actual, truth, because I didn't do any sort of like looking up stuff about Morgan Freeman before I decided to start watching this. I wanted to go into it not exactly knowing what was up. But anyway, a disclaimer to this, I like Morgan Freeman and I always have. So I'm a little I guess you could say, biased in that regard. I just don't get the feeling that he's, I don't know. I don't personally know the man. So it's kind of presumptuous of me to assert that I don't get the feeling that he's done anything wrong. But given the way things have gone in society these days with practical witch hunts against men, with the whole Me Too movement nonsense, I just am more inclined to not automatically believe the claims that are made by a lot of women. A lot of it just depends on the situation and how true they sound to me. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and jump into this. I've rambled on long enough, so let's see what this is about.
Every day I wonder how insane this madness is going to get before it exposes itself. What's going to be the final straw? Then I read the news and find out that we managed to hit a new low.
Right.
This week, we're told to erase Morgan Freeman from personhood because CNN...
Okay, sorry. This video is a few years old, maybe from 2017. I should have added that. It's not something completely current, although what she's talking about is pretty relevant because it's happening today. She said erase him from personhood, which basically means to cancel him.
CNN's coddled little socialite, Chloe Mellis, was once personally offended by Morgan Freeman in an interview. She felt so oppressed, she decided to search out other women who hated him too.
Oh, Lord.
CNN now proudly announces that Mellis was allowed to co-write the story of her vindictive mission and did most of the research herself, searching out the other accusers.
Read everything.
'Cause that's not biased at all. But we're supposed to find Chloe Mellis stunning and brave for taking down an 80-year-old man who overcame growing up black and poor in Jim Crow's Deep South because he didn't meet her expectations when she finally met him in person. Morgan Freeman was...
Okay, I'm going to pause this a second, you guys. Sorry. I wanted to read Freeman shook Mel's hand, not letting go while repeatedly looking at her scene more. Okay. All right. Sorry about that.
That's not biased. But we're supposed to find Chloe Mellis stunning and brave for taking down an 80-year-old man who overcame growing up black and poor in Jim Crow's Deep South because he didn't meet her expectations when she finally met him in person. Morgan Freeman was not good enough for Chloe, and she's using the public now to take her revenge. We're supposed to think, after reading her Wikipedia page and comparing it to what Morgan Freeman struggled through to gain success, we're supposed to think that he's the one with privilege and power. But let's have a look at this and really think about it. Think about it carefully. Here we go. Mellis grew up in Georgia, born in 1986. Freeman grew up in Mississippi, born in 1937. So it took the Deep South about 50 years to give birth to the woman who could finally have him lynched. Mm-hmm. Mellis' mother was a children's author and her father an architect. She played competitive classical piano. Freeman's mother was a school teacher, his father a barber who died of cirrhosis. Freeman himself almost died of pneumonia at age 16.
Oh, Lord.
Raised by his single mother after his grandmother died. Then he joined the army, so that people like Mellis could safely learn how to play the piano. Mellis had her first job at CNN straight out of graduation. Freeman didn't land a groundbreaking role and get success until 1987, when he was about 50 years old. Of course, all of his struggles were just part of his real job. To sit across from Mellis at an interview and please her like some kind of performing monkey. Do you see where I'm going here? Morgan Freeman owes you nothing. I worked in the film industry, and part of the reason actors are rude is because so many people vying for their attention and pretending to be their friends all just want a piece of the legend and don't give a shit about the real person behind the icon.
Yeah.
They don't care about you because you don't care about them. Morgan Freeman isn't your fantasy of who he is. He's a real person, three-dimensional. He's struggled, fought, cried, laughed, and survived. And people like Chloe will never know the real Morgan because she didn't want to. Think about that. And before you judge Morgan Freeman, remember something. He's not a privileged man. He's not a benefactor of the so-called patriarchy. You know, that well-oiled machine that does the bidding of angry women the moment they point a finger. I won't erase Morgan Freeman from humanity, because if I did, what would that tell us about humanity? In the end, you decide what kind of world you want to live in, and that will be the world that you're stuck with. Morgan Freeman doesn't want to be referred to as a black man.
I remember
He
that.
doesn't like Black History Month.
I remember him saying that.
He's a man, and his history is American history. Me? Well, I've never liked studying history at all, because we never seem to learn from
I
it.
knew she was going to say that.
Every day I wonder, how
Dude, I have those all the time. All
What's
the
the
time.
4-year-old thing?
Oh, dude, I'm sitting on the plane. I got the middle seat, so I'm already in a...
So it's really annoying when I try to press pause at the end so that it doesn't jump to the next video, and it still jumps to it. And then even when I hit pause, it doesn't listen to me. I do have my autoplay off. A lot of people have suggested turning autoplay off. I do have it off. And it will still go ahead and jump to the next video in the playlist, which is, and maybe it's because this was in my playlist and I played it, so it just went on. Maybe playlists are different as opposed to maybe, going to the next recommended video. I don't know, but my autoplay is off. Sometimes those ads will just automatically start up. That also just happens whether your autoplay is on or off. People have suggested putting an ad blocker on, but I'm going to shy away from doing something like that. This is how a lot of YouTubers, they make money through advertisement revenue. So I will, I'll put up with the fact that I have to edit some stuff out at the end of what I'm watching. It's a minor quibble. It's just annoying because I know the camera's still going and I'm sitting there stopping and going back to the video and pausing and whatever. Anyway. Okay. So I was not aware of what this person who's complaining about him was talking about. Maybe this does tie into the little sort of murmurs that I thought I heard about someone complaining about her sexual harassment or something like that. I read the thing that he said to her that was supposedly so awful and terrible. And come on. This is a real problem today, like in society in general, and it's happening so much, and it feels like it really got amped up with the whole Me Too thing. Now, it was happening before, but it's like that platform just, it was just like it bolstered so many women to start this, like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, like this witch hunty type attitude. Everything a guy did was just awful, and it was just, he looked at her, whatever, he said something to her that offended her, and oh my gosh, the patriarchy, and he's trying to oppress her, and we need to stop this because, women have been oppressed for so long. Women are not oppressed in this country. Women are not oppressed in any first world country. Let's be real about that. I'm not talking about other countries that are behind as far as things like that go. Yes, there's real oppression that happens to women in other countries, but I'm talking about first world, like, the US, the UK, countries in Europe, Australia, it's not happening. Someone may be an asshole to a woman, but that's not oppression. I mean, honestly, if anyone's being oppressed in this country, it's men. And there are various reasons for that. There's the systemic sort of infiltration into all different aspects of culture, entertainment, news, politics, that is like putting this narrative in people's heads about the patriarchy and how women are oppressed and how men are just wannabe rapists walking around and they need to be put in their place and all of this, and don't say anything. Basically, a lot, it's like there's this effort to try to feminize men or to strip them of their masculinity. And that's part of being a man, just like part of being a woman is femininity. Yes, you're going to have outliers where, not all men are going to be all, masculine alpha males and all that sort of stuff. That's not the point. The point is that's inherent in men. Masculinity, their masculinity. It's inherent in women, their femininity. And it's like society is trying to blur the lines between that and completely eradicate those inherent parts of us. They're just trying to get rid of it. And I think it's very damaging to society, and I can't stand that it's happening. And it seems to be very much focused on men. And when I say that if anybody's oppressed in society, it's men, I'm going to touch on some things that's going to probably get people a little pissed off with me. There's two really clear things. Legal things, actual legal things that signify oppression of men as opposed to any sort of oppression of women, which isn't happening. Men are forced to register for the Selective Service by law. If they don't, they can get into some serious legal trouble. Now, it generally doesn't happen, but it's there. The threat is there. It can happen. Women are not forced to do that. Selective service basically means, for anybody who's may not know what I'm talking about, let's say if you're watching from another country, you're basically registering for a possible draft. You're putting your name on the list as I am a viable male who can be drafted if the draft ever comes around again and be sent off to war to be killed because, men are like cannon fodder. They're expendable. It's the men that go off and fight to protect society, not the women. Nowadays, yes, women are doing it. But as far as a draft, it's the men that are drafted, you guys, not the women. Second thing, and this is the one that's probably going to annoy people. But this is something that I'm very passionate about. I wear it on my wrist. I have it on my little necklace thingy here. And that has to do with the routine circumcision of infant and child males, and male infants and children in this country. If you dig into that, you will find that there really is no valid reason to continue doing this. That there was really no valid reason to do it in the first place. It's a long history, you guys. I am a fountain of knowledge when it comes to this subject because it is something in fact, that particular subject was the one thing that sort of, I don't know if it's accurate to say red pilled me to a lot of stuff because this is something I've been against for decades. And it was that one thing that kind of sort of, from that, a lot of my convictions, my beliefs about certain things, what I have, certain conclusions I've settled on about various different issues. One of them is men's rights. At the core of that was the issue of forced circumcision, which happens, another word for it is genital mutilation, which a lot of people don't like to hear, but that is what it is. I know I'm going to piss people off. I know it's just going to really make people mad, but anyway, what was I saying? What the heck was I saying? Oh, yes. Male children are not protected against forced genital cutting in this country. Female children are. So right there, you have two very significant issues in which men are discriminated against and women are protected. You can go into other things like jail time and how men are given harsher sentences for the exact same type of crime in pretty much the exact same sort of scenario than women are. Women get away with, we're getting into more like gray, murky areas. The first two I mentioned are very solid. That is what it is. It's actual like law. The other stuff, not necessarily law, but it happens. It's, you can look at the numbers. It happens. But so the jail stuff, what was the next thing I mentioned? Oh, shoot. They receive harsher they receive harsher sentences, especially when you look at things like, let's say, when an adult has sex or performs other sexual acts on a legal minor. A lot of people that are involved in doing that are women, if you haven't noticed, like teachers that are messing around with their students. And yeah, they might get punished some, but it's almost like a slap on the wrist compared to if it was a guy that had been doing that, because they get much harsher penalties. Men are not treated as fairly in family court, like when there's a divorce. The courts almost always sort of are geared towards wanting to give the children to the mother, even if the mother is a working mother, full-time working mother. So and fathers have to battle for access to their children. Women very often use their child as a weapon against their husband when they're going through any sort of conflict or let's say divorce. Let's just keep it to that. So there's a lot of things that men have going against them in society, and a lot of it is sanctioned by law, and it's not right, and it's something that has just really bothered me for a long time. So, then also, going back to the stuff with Bill Burr's video, and he talked about his woman, hitting him. That sort of thing is just put up with. It's almost even condoned and completely accepted by a lot of people, and it's not right. If you want to talk about equality, you need to treat people equally. Yes, there are differences between men and women. Yes, they should be treated equally in the eyes of the law and all of that stuff. But that's the thing is, they're not. And society doesn't really treat them equally when it comes to things like that. They condone inappropriate treatment of men just because it's kind of ingrained into our heads. We don't take it seriously if a woman punches a guy, when it should be taken seriously, because she can kill a guy. She uses a weapon, she can kill a guy. Anyway, I'm going on, but it kind of came around. I don't know, this sort of triggered a lot of stuff in me as far as things that I just sort of have simmering under the surface of my thoughts, especially when it comes to stuff like this. Now, I know that there have been women that have been extremely inappropriate towards men as far as sexual harassment goes, but people don't take the guys seriously. And they act like it's a joke that the guy doesn't want that sort of attention. But maybe he doesn't want that sort of attention, and he should be listened to and respected if he says that he doesn't want a fellow coworker or a female superior in his job to be touching him inappropriately. That's not right. So what he supposedly did or said to this woman, this is like nothing. I don't understand this obsession with society to where if someone gets under your skin, you decide you're going to try to ruin them. And that happens a lot. It's still going on, and it's inexcusable, and it needs to end. And I'm really fearful at the direction that society is going with how quickly people want to do that and how fast people jump on the bandwagon of wanting to do that to somebody when they haven't even committed a grievous sin They haven't killed anybody. They haven't raped anybody. They haven't molested anybody. Just because someone didn't like what they said or maybe the way they looked at them, let's go ahead and destroy them. I can't stand that, you guys. It's so wrong. And I do feel like things are starting to change. I feel like there's starting to be some blowback against that sort of thing. But the problem is it's not happening quickly enough. And also the downside to that is that, you got this pendulum in society, and it swings. It has these cycles, and now we're in this terrible cycle of the way things are happening now. But I feel like there's going to be such a strong pushback. We're going to go in an extreme way on the other end, and that's not good either. And it's like I can't remember if I said it in one of my videos or if it was just a discussion I had with someone, and I mentioned, why is it so hard for the pendulum to just be hanging still right here in the middle? Why is that so hard for people? I don't understand. But, it's we're a collection of individuals, and you can't control, obviously you can't control the whole of society. The only thing you can try to do is be responsible for yourself and speak out whenever you see terrible things happening that shouldn't be happening, like this. I guess on the flip side of that, someone who's complaining about a perceived harassment offense would say, well, they're speaking out too. But I'm talking about real serious issues as far as speaking out against. I'm not talking about because someone hurt your feels. That's nothing. That's an individual matter. That doesn't mean that's a cause for, creating some sort of huge cause in social media and going after the person and trying to get rid of them, to erase their personhood. I think that was how she put it. Well, basically it's cancel culture, which I've heard it also referred to as cancer culture. And that's not really all that inaccurate, is it? Anyway, I feel like I've ranted quite a bit, and I've said some things that might upset people, because, it's like I've said, anytime you open your mouth and express an opinion out in the world of the internet, you're going to piss somebody off. Somebody's going to be annoyed no matter what. But it is what it is. These were the thoughts that came to me as I was watching this and thinking about it afterward. And I hope I made some sense. Like I said, I don't come prepared with any sort of notes. Well, I had no idea what I was watching, so what I was going to watch. And this is one of those videos that's more on the serious side. This is not a stand-up comedy routine. I have mentioned that I do want my channel to primarily stay focused on entertainment related stuff. And in a sense, this is entertainment related because Morgan Freeman's in the entertainment industry. But what I meant is things like, movies, shows, stand-up comedy has now entered, my channel. It's probably going to be a permanent part of my channel, I think, unless things happen to change. You never know what's going to happen. But that's still part of the entertainment stuff. And while I will touch on these sort of issues, like I have said before, it's not something I'm going to focus on. I don't really want my channel to turn into something where I'm just, being preachy about all these different sort of issues in society, even though, it will enter into it at some point. But I see some channels, and I enjoy the channels, but there are some channels that's all they're focused on, is that sort of stuff. And I would like to try as much as I can to keep things lighthearted, yet, being able to talk about stuff, serious stuff, without that being all the channel is about, if that makes any sense. There was something else I was going to say too, and I forgot what it was. Shoot. Oh, yeah, I was getting ready to say, I was just getting ready to say that I had been posting videos up 7 days a week, sometimes twice a day, But I think what I might start doing now, since I'm in kind of a bit of a work crunch is going on, and I've got a lot of stuff going on around here with some remodeling, and my office is going to be moving. I may only be able to, I probably will only be able to manage Monday through Friday, at least one video a day. Generally, I aim for two. Typically, my format lately has been a stand-up routine earlier, and then in the evening, maybe like a movie trailer or something related to movies or shows or stories of some kind, different stuff like that. A lot of it just depends on what I've been able to film, what I've got, saved up that I can work on and upload. But so, yeah, I'll probably be taking weekends off from that for the next while, but I definitely will be aiming to continue to post at least Monday through Friday. So I don't even know why I brought that into this conversation. This is where my mind goes, you guys. This is the way I am. I just kind of, unless somebody's there to kind of interrupt and then the conversation goes somewhere else in a whole other direction, this is the pattern that my thoughts go in, which is a jumbled, scary pattern. But anyway, there we are. So, okay, that's it, I think, for this one. And I don't know, I talked quite a bit, so I don't know how much more I'm going to be able to film right now. Maybe not much more. Probably not. Okay, I'm going to sign off for now, you guys. Later.